Woke Medical Association scrubs DEI info from website after brutal report. Now, I'm tempted to say that the world is healing. This is another example of the world healing, but I think it's just they're just hiding it because it's becoming less acceptable now. The AAMC removed and restricted info on its website after a do no harm report exposed its commitment to DEI. Well, yeah, because that whole, doctors are supposed to do no harm thing. What happened to that? The Association of American Medical Colleges, AAMC, moved to restrict and remove information from its website after a report revealed its full-throated commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion policies. So just full-on, Marxist ideology. Last week, Do No Harm, an organization committed to depoliticizing medicine. Just think about that. Like, we now need movements to depoliticize medicine. Medicine. The last place politics belongs. It's unbelievable that we got to this place. Published an exhaustive report detailing how the AAMC wielded its influence and prestige to push DEI and other leftist policies. The AAMC facilitates much of medical education. They always go for the education, right? That's how you get them. That's how you get the young people. In the United States, it administers the MCAT, the test students take to get into medical school. So I'm sure they really woke that up. After the Do No Harm report dropped, the AAMC this week pulled information from its website on grants it had received and restricted access to information about a database that tracked the race and sex of medical personnel. Because that's your first concern. It's unbelievable. I took a little look at this report here. It's really long. But here's one part. Support for youth gender ideology. In an April 2021 press release, AAMC CEO Scorton declared that doctors must be allowed to provide so-called gender-affirming care, which is just a euphemism. I mean, that is the real conversion therapy. Everything. It's amazing. They create these euphemisms. They redefine things. They use words in ways that don't make any sense. It actually does make sense if you're trying to manipulate people. If you're doing the opposite of what you say you're doing. Citing that restrictions will, quote, promote discrimination and widen already significant health inequities. Inequities. There's that commie word, inequities we hear about so much. What is this doing? What is this doing in medicine? It doesn't make any damn sense. What's going on here? The nuts and bolts of caring for and teaching about transgender and gender nonconforming youth. Well, what does this say here? It says, is it a boy or a girl? And then this says, I don't know. It can't talk yet. I don't know. It can't talk yet. And also, by the way, I always refer to my children as it, right? When they were babies, I always referred to them as it. That's a little bit of that's a little bit of an insight into the way these people think. Does anybody out there ever refer to their child as it? So this is making sure to indoctrinate people into this ideology in medical school. The presentation claims that puberty blockers are reversible, not true, and can safely be administered to children 8 to 12 years old. Untrue. Similarly, it states that masculinizing, and feminizing hormone therapy is partially reversible and relatively safe in most youth. What other thing would you talk about that's just elective, that's not life-threatening? What other thing would you talk about where that's fine? Well, we're going to do this thing that actually we don't need to do, and it is partially reversible. And it's relatively safe in most youth. What? And this puberty blockers reversible? No, they're not. Obviously, they're not. If you miss part of your puberty, you're not getting that back. There's no pill to take to then restart your body again. I'm sorry, this is on a biological clock. That part of your puberty that you lose, that's gone forever. That development of your body into a healthy adult body is gone. You can't change that. You can't reverse that. It doesn't even make sense. They're talking about children here. While the terminology and vocabulary of gender ideology has changed dramatically over the subsequent years, continuing to post this video on its website illustrates the AAMC's intend to continue supporting a highly controversial ideology that is dangerous for children and teens. Well, it's not even like the UK has just banned puberty blockers for kids outright. Like Sweden did this, right? European countries are banning these things. They've taken a look at their own data and said, oh, actually, the thing that this was supposed to do doesn't do. It actually makes it worse. It makes these kids more likely to have suicidal ideation. This is bad. This is a bad thing. I mean, not that any sane, reasonable person couldn't have told anybody that from the start. Let's see. Well, this child is a bit confused. So let's stop them from developing into a healthy adult body. We'll mutilate them, sterilize them, and permanently medicalize them. That'll fix it. I mean, you don't need to be a doctor. You don't need to be an expert. You don't need to do any studies. That just on its face is fucking ridiculous and insane and criminally reckless. I mean, am I wrong about this? That just clear, just the words, sex changes for children. You have to be a fucking lunatic to hear those words and say, oh, that sounds like something that makes sense. These are adults, trusted experts. They must know better. The countries that have looked at the data and been honest have banned it. What do you think? Like Sweden isn't, far right, super far right Christian conservative country. Phases of transitioning, reversible, clothes, hair, shoes, toys, GnRH, that's the puberty blockers. Come on. Partially reversible, masculinizing and feminizing hormone therapy. Wow. Partially reversible. This thing that we did to this child who couldn't possibly have given informed consent because they were confused. This thing that we did, that we adults as experts did to these children who couldn't possibly consent to it because they have no idea what it's like to grow into a healthy adult human body when they're 12. That thing we did to them, well, it's partially reversible. So I guess we're cool, right? No. We're not cool. Not cool at all. Well, at least they admit that actually cutting off somebody's sexual organs is irreversible. At least they admit that. I'm surprised. So this is the kind of insanity that's going on. They know that it's wrong because they hit it. Like there's going to be a tsunami of lawsuits. Like the tsunami of lawsuits is what's going to end all this stuff, right? Because reality, tragic reality is going to assert itself. All of these people saying, you were adults, you were supposed to protect us. You were supposed to protect us. You let this happen. You did this to us. It's unbelievable. It's so shocking that sometimes I can't believe I'm saying the words. Adults are doing this. Politicians. Justin Trudeau loves this shit. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say about that. Please like, share, and subscribe. Subscribing really helps me out. I thank you for that. I will see you next time.